Okay, it looks like we are now rolling. Hey, greetings. This is Terra Lumination, and excuse me, pardon me. This is you, dear Virgo, over here. Okay, and this is your mini love and relationship report for August 2018. So before we get into it, I wanted to show you a little bit of the astro doodles from Terra Lumination, just to get you some background, like an appetizer warm-up thing, because August is quite a profound month for a lot of people because of the eclipses that we've been dealing with. July the 12th, the Cancer new moon eclipse. July 23rd, we had the big Aquarius Leo full moon eclipse. But in August in particular, which is what this report's about, we're going to go to August 11th for you, which looks like this in terms of the eclipses. Also, everybody, Virgo, like, watch for your sun, moon, and rising, because it all could be different, especially if they are all different. Just wanted to show you this little Terra Lumination Astro Doodle. It's for August 2018. These are my personal things, but I'm sharing them. Okay, we're talking about the new moon eclipse in Leo, August 11th, and it's happening in your 12th house. So 12th house energies, we're talking about endings of all endings, surrender, loss, perhaps things like universal love, your connection with divinity and spirit, the energy of deep sacrifice, perhaps martyrdom, energies of going shadow self to the self undoing, the mysteries, the beauties of life, art, music, and writing in terms of the inspiration as opposed to the creation, and things like imprisonment, failings, punishment, and things like that. So it's a very difficult house for a lot of people to understand and to integrate, because it's it's great when it's great, but it can be very challenging when it's challenging. So I don't want to dwell on it too much, because it's not directly to do with relationships. Of course, you're going to change because of these eclipses, and we can talk about that some other time, but not here. So the new moon Leo eclipse is going to affect you here. But in terms of love and relationship, I thought I would mark this for you guys, because there's a big Capricorn stellium in your 5th house, August 23rd, of true love and fun and romance and creativity. So there might be a big cluster, like a culmination here. It's not a full moon or anything, but it's a very large cluster just at that time, mostly because of to do with the transiting moon. So I just wanted to bring that out. And lastly, again, because of relationships, not a lot of people seem to be talking about it, but Neptune is here right in the middle of your 7th house. Okay, in fact, let's make a little emphasis point here. Okay, 1st house and 7th. Okay, so the reason I'm mentioning it, this is your relationship axis. This is the axis of marriage, the axis of you and the significant other and you. So it's important to acknowledge this. It's very hard to pin down the Neptune energy, because it dissolves everything it touches. And it can be very beautiful, but it can be very hard to cope with the shadow side of Neptune energy. If you're feeling the sense of loss in relationships, where the more you try to grasp onto something, the more it falls apart, that would be normal. If you're sensing a tremendous deep like vibration of like profound spiritual love, that could also be happening as well, or spiritual awakenings happening over here, which could work together well with the 12th house energy, which is the home of Neptune anyway. But anyway, the point is, I just wanted to emphasize that there is a strong emphasis, but it's indirect, on your 1st and 7th house of relationship, and you got some romantic energies coming to culmination here. So let's put that aside. Thank you for listening. We're going to use the Terra Lumination crucible spread. It's on the understanding that there's you, the other, and this third entity, the relationship itself. Okay, here you go. In a very loving relationship, this is what it looks like. Both parties invest in the relationship, and the relationship acts as a container. And a crucible is a very, very strong container that can withstand immense pressures as we, intimate and separate in our relationships, in our love lives. It's all about you one minute, it's all about them, then you need a break from each other, and then the next minute, like, you can't keep your hands off each other, whatever it is. Sometimes it's war, sometimes it's peace. Sometimes it's just passing of time. Whatever that might be, we're going to have a look at it. Cards were well shuffled in advance. No jumpers, no flyers, no oracles, no reversals. Sorry about that. It's not enough time, not enough room. And you'll see the crucible in just a second. For singles too, you can watch this if you want. If you allow deeply for the laws of attraction, you're going to be radiating energy anyway, which does come back at you. And if you want to focus it on love and relationship, you can do that. And then you can put the other party over here as like a what if scenario. Like what if somebody was to show up? What would be going on here? Okay. We don't do fortune telling here. We don't predict anything here at Tarot Lumination. We just read the story, okay? And it's up to you to make your decisions, all right? So let's get on with it. I know you want to see the cards, so I'm just doing my best to get on with it as soon as I can, but I still want to deliver a full reading for you, okay? Remember, this is a reading for you. It's not a couple's reading, okay? We're allowing for a significant other, but it's really all about you in the relationship. All right. So here we go. Cards are well shuffled. All right, here we go. And please bring your team in. Bring your spirit guides, you know, your guardian angels, your invisible friends, all of it, okay? It really helps. God bless this deck, bless this reading, bless this cut, bless you, the viewer. Okay. Over here is what you're radiating. Over here, significant other. Deep inside of you, deep inside of the other, the core, the relationship itself. Think of this as the crucible, the whole thing here. This is what you guys own. This is what you've created, whether you like it or know it or not. In a very conscious, loving, open relationship, you would be very aware of this structure and you would invest in it so that you would always be not stressing, but be aware of the weak points and finding ways to build on that and to protect yourselves from that stuff, and also to build on the strength of what you have. Over here, prospects, momentum, continuity, however you want to think of it as like a flowing, like fountain type of energy. Okay, over here, significant energy that's around you. Think of it as circumstantial, environmental, and so you Virgo have to make the best of it, like we all do with weather. So you have the Nine of Wands here. My feeling is that this is very closely related to Neptune right now. Neptune in Pisces over there, right in the middle of your 7th house. So it's like Neptune at maximum like power. Yeah, we have the 0 degrees and the 29 degrees and so on, but it's right smack in the middle, roughly, whatever it is, 15, 16 degrees. So that's like serious, like highway full-on cruising speed, you know? And it could be taking you to the limits of your ability to handle whatever is happening in your relationships. And the thing is, it can be very, very hard to even understand. Like if there is something that's out of whack in your love life and relationship, whether, you know, you're just young and living together or young married or 20-year veterans of coupledom, it can still be very, very challenging for any Virgo to deal with just this little thing alone here. Little Neptune, well, big Neptune, hanging around right here. And it's not going away anytime soon. This is going to be here for years to come, okay? It's a long, slow 14-year journey, and we're halfway through it now. We got another 7 years of this, okay? Interesting that it's running along the same clock time now as Uranus and Taurus. Uranus and Taurus is quite harmonious for you, so I'm not stressing about that. All right, let's have a look what you're radiating over here. Okay. Well, it looks like job well done, recognition and acknowledgement. At least you're doing your part. You know, my feeling here is that you're doing everything you can to be the best Virgo mate partner to yourself primarily, like honoring yourself, respecting yourself, knowing that you are good at what you do, how you do it, when, where, why, and how. And it's almost like, to me, it feels like, you know, like, I just hope my sweetheart gets it. I hope my significant other understands this about me, because I'm doing everything I can here. I admit I am a work in progress, and sometimes when they feel this card, it's on the understanding we're talking very long-term approaches and perspectives, because like in the medieval vision of this thing, like these cathedrals and churches and abbeys and monasteries were built over generations of time. You know, you would be born, lived, and died as a stonemason, and the place still wouldn't be finished. And then your kids and your grandkids would still be working on it. So you have to trust and believe in the long term, knowing that the original plans are good and solid and will survive the long term, and that you're doing all of this for a reason. Okay. So, in other words, if you are like in an environmental situation through August where you feel you're like being taken to the limits, and it's nothing evilly malicious or anything. It's just that you personally are at the limits of your ability to cope with the current, let's say, weather conditions of relationship dynamics. So let's just blame it on the planets. Just blame it on this for now. Give yourself a break. Take a big note of what's happening in your life around August 23rd, okay? Because that might signify things for you, because the sun will already be in Virgo by that time anyway. So towards the end of the month, things are going to change, especially towards the end of September. After these eclipses roll over, the pressure is going to back down a little bit for everybody, okay? So hang in. I'm happy to see this. It also shows to me that you are deeply appreciated and understood, but maybe not completely, because of the long-term trajectory that I feel with this card. It's just like a lot of the energy that you might be receiving from another is just going to have to be based on trust. Like, you know, like it's almost like I'm doing everything I can. I'm the best Virgo spouse, mate, partner I can possibly be right now. And I would dearly appreciate that from you too, towards me. I know you might not be able to understand me, all of me right now. And I'm sorry about that. I'm an evolving, growing person just like you. And I allow for your own growth and evolution in the relationship. So please allow for that from me. Thank you very much. Let's get on with it now. Thank you. So, to me, this feels good and wholesome in potentially very challenging conditions. Let's have a look at the other. Okay. With the Four of Wands here, my feeling is that they understand you at the teamwork kind of level, and they're on board. They're seeing you as a teammate to something like, you know, where it needs to be acknowledged, it needs to be celebrated, it needs to be publicly acknowledged. It almost feels like a renewal of vows here. You know, if you've taken sacred vows with each other, if you've taken the generic vows, or if you've crafted your own vows, maybe there's an indication from your significant other, dear Virgo, that from their perspective, yeah, they might not fully understand you, what you're doing, how or why, or what your stresses might be, and they might fully understand that they are a significant factor in that equation of not knowing what's going on, because with this Neptune over here, it can be very, very hard to pin down, even find words for whatever's not working. That's how difficult it can be. And my feeling is that they know this, they understand that, but they're not going to stop that from destroying the relationship. My feeling is that this is actually quite harmonious for you, in that it might not be the most lovey-dovey moment of your life, you know, going through the 12th house period, that period before the birthday, you know, the September Virgo type energy can often be a really like let down period of like feeling like you're depressed, lost, just no energy, want to sleep, and just leave me alone, I need to rest. And maybe they understand that, and they're thinking, you know what, I get it, but I'm still here for you. And if you want to, we can renew our vows and make it all proper again, and you know, get back into balance, because I'm still on board. I'm sorry you're stressed about yourself and us and whatever that means, but I'm still here, and you know, I'm not going away. And it's like, it's almost like, well, why don't we, you know, do something about this and declare it to ourselves again? Like some people, like maybe it's time to initiate a conversation between the two of you, and you know, just get things on the table. And you know, in other words, to me, it almost feels like, why don't we go out for dinner, celebrate what we do have, the good stuff, and we will gently address the problems that we have as well. Okay, how's that for a deal? And you're kind of like, okay, well, that's team effort, I like that. uh, And you might be thinking like, well, I was going to suggest something like myself anyway, because it's all up to me. It's like a lot of like repairs and maintenance energy type here. It's very, very important in relationships to consider that sometimes tedious stuff that I think of as repairs and maintenance. A lot of people don't want that. They just want the benefits full on all the time, and then someone else has to do all the repairs and maintenance, or they just shove all the repairs and maintenance off to the side until everything explodes. Let's have a look deep down inside of you, Virgo. Okay. Well, it looks to me like you're determined, like even in perhaps a moment of weakness here, you're determined to get your act together so that things do work out properly, grasping all the challenges, the very wispy, very hard to define challenges of what you're dealing with right now, and putting that all in a blender and mixing it with all the good stuff and realizing in some ways how fortunate you are, and then going for it so that you are not overwhelmed by what is not working. Because essentially, this is good stuff. Okay, this is really good stuff, Virgo. But I'm not going to, sugarcoat this reading, because as your reader, I'm very aware of this energy here and how this can be extremely challenging in relationships. Okay, so let's have a look. What are they radiating? Okay, more wands. Well, they might be all fired up in their own way for you, about you and about themselves and about the relationship. And again, it might not be what you sense in the relationship because you're struggling with your own internal spiritual process. This is a very spiritual type of energy that we're dealing with here, right here in the seventh house over here and the 12th house over here. And so we have to allow for that. I'm not going to just bring this into a reading that says, oh, you're doing great jobs together. They want to get married to you, celebrate engagement, and it's a bit scary, but you're going to go for it. And they're going to go for it too. If you want to read it that way, you can. All right. I'm feeling a little bit more to the story. So right now with the Three of Wands, my feeling is that it's almost, again, I feel this energy here like, oh God, like, God, it was worth it. It's worth hanging on here. Yeah, it's stressful because if your relationship dynamics are very like dreamy, cloudy, diffuse, sometimes, beautiful, serene, dreamlike, but sometimes also very, very, very challenging. That can be very hard to handle in one physical body and one physical person. And what I'm sensing here is good. It's just that the challenging stuff is so diffuse and buried so deep that it can be very hard to understand. So it's like the only option you have is to, like, I hope this all works out because I don't really even know what the language is for what's not working. And I said that originally for you, but I'm also sensing it from the other over here now. It's like, I can see the good stuff. I'm still on board in my own way, and I'm really sorry you're struggling, and it's so hard for you to understand, and I wish I could do things better. But I see good things. I see good consequences coming to us for us deep down. This is what I want. This is what I'm wishing for, and I'm already seeing the signs of it coming through. Thank you very much. I'm not as scared as you are. Okay, so it's almost like you're in a very timid position way over here, and they're like, you know what? It's not so bad. You don't be, come on, little shy Virgo. Come on out. Have fun, play. I don't know. I want to get my act together. I know I can do it. I know I can. I know I can. I know I can. That's better. That's better. That's what we want. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. So, I don't know. I don't know. Please, like, okay. Well, don't worry. I'm still here. I think you're awesome, and we're awesome. Like, we're awesome. Okay. Cool, thanks. I really needed to hear that. Just give me a moment, okay? I'm going through my 12th house stuff right now, okay? Okay, all right, don't worry. I'm still here. But let's do that dinner date. Let's do that renew the vow things. Let's hang out. You talk to me about what's not working, okay? Okay, okay, cool. So let's have a look deep down over here. Oh, this is gorgeous. To me, this looks like really good intentions of bringing in what works. Okay, remember, this is not a couples reading. It's all about you, Virgo, in the context of someone else, and we're allowing for them in this relationship. So over here at the core, what I think of as the crucible type of energy, my feeling is that at your level over here, you're doing the very, very best you can in your most in a most challenging situation, and your intentions are very, very good. It's like you're deliberately, very carefully trying to identify like anything and everything that is not working effectively according to the plans, according to the architecture, according to what we already know is working, like looking for flaws and errors and identifying those and walking away and let's say diffusing them, like diffusing the bombs, diffusing the landmines, identifying the bombs and the landmines in the relationship, and coming forward into the relationship like with a list, like finally getting to the point where you figured it out, like let's say getting into the September energy, the Virgo energy towards the end of September, you will be much more of a participant, I feel, in the relationship, and there will be much more of a sense of parity between you guys, where you're doing everything you can to walk away from the battlefield and bring the good stuff with you that you have either salvaged or won or earned or battled for or had to battle against in order to salvage and retain the good stuff and bring it back into harmony and balance in the relationship. The Knight of Pentacles is very wholesome energy because they know what it's like to suffer. They know what it's like to have been to war and come back. And even though they're prepared for war and they can handle war, they would much rather, be back with the family. So that's what I'm sensing here is happening to you, with you, for you, is that even though there might be a huge disparity between yourself and the other right now, where it sort of looks like this visually, I think eventually it's going to come back to this, and it's going to become a bit of a sweet hug moment here once things start to get more harmonious for you in the Virgo season. All right, let's have a look at some prospects over here. Okay, because right now, with the Eight of Swords here, it makes me feel that, again, this is for most of August, okay? So I think for a good chunk of August, it's going to feel like even with your best of intentions, the full determination to make the good, the best out of the situation, and the clear evidence in your relationship dynamics, no matter how disparate the energy might be right now, the intentions are very good from you to the relationship, and it looks like from them to you in the relationship, even though there's not much they can do about it right now because you're on your journey. So what happens is, my feeling is during the first 3 weeks of August, it can feel like it's like the best thing to do is just admit it's still like a puzzle for you and you're still dealing with it, and it's going to be a problem, like that feeling of walking or living through a maze and not having a lot of guidance, like pretending, like imagine you're a cell phone but your GPS system is locked, you don't have the Waze apps anymore or the driving apps anymore, so you have to figure out everything through your intuition and your best of intentions and trusting that you can do that. Okay, and trusting your own deep inner internal spiritual GPS systems to get through this, knowing that you will not be harmed. You will come out the other side. Yes, it's stressful. Yes, it can be emotionally turbulent. Yes, you might feel frightened, which is typically what happens in a maze. But remember, as human beings, we can handle this. Human beings are built to perceive and identify problems and then find out how to overcome the problems. And it's based on fear. Like people pay a lot of money to be frightened, okay? They go to amusement parks, ghost house adventures, scary sports activities, all sorts of things that are actually really quite frightening, quite dangerous in many, many ways. But we do it anyway because it's almost like we're turned on by this. Now, I'm not saying you're turned on by your own problems here, but what I feel is that you're equipped to handle it, whatever these problems are, and you will prevail, and you might be a little shaken up and disturbed, and you might have to go through this more or less blind, just like what would be indicated over here anyway, going through the 12th house, where it's like, being physically impaired, blind, crippled, broken, imprisoned, handcuffed, uh, hoodwinked, confused, lost, needing help, needing health care, all of that stuff, simultaneously with the Neptune energy over here. But once you get towards the end, okay, August 23rd onwards, especially, I think this will smooth out and you will feel like a child who's just got through one of those huge amusement park maze things. And they got through the other side and they're going to go, yeah, I did it. I did it. I didn't cheat. I didn't use my GPS. I didn't talk to anybody. And in fact, I just went through on my own and I figured it out, like solving a Rubik's Cube. So that's how it feels to me. All right, I'm just going to leave it at that. You can reinterpret, watch for your sun, moon, and rising, even cross watch for your significant others too. You can handle this, okay? You can handle this, Virgo. It's just think of it as a ticking clock. August and at the end of July, very, very tough, challenging planetary transits, which can affect all of us. But by the end of September, especially, things are going to smooth out a lot for you, okay? Bye bye for now. All the best.